This is a very generic structure of this LC oscillators. And if you write down these two equations, wasting my time, you get V into y1 plus y3, y2 plus y3 minus V0 y3 is equal to 0. This is the node equation at this point. V multiplied by y2 is the current. V minus V0 into y3 is equal to this current. So, this current plus this current must be equal to 0. The second one comes out to be V Gm minus y3 plus V0 into G plus y1 plus y3 is equal to 0. G is this G. With this node equation, current plus this current must be equal to 0. That was the second equation. So, now if you put it in matrix form, you get y2 plus y3 minus y3, Gm minus y3 and G plus y1 plus y3 into V and V0 should be equal to 0. So, linear simultaneous equation theory will tell you that if it has to be a non-zero solution, then the determinant of this matrix must be equal to 0. So, that gives you your oscillation condition. That oscillation condition then turns out to be this into this . So, this is a very general result for an LC oscillator, where these admittances here y1, y2, y3 consist of inductors and capacitors, one or many. Okay. If you simplify this, you will end up into an equation like anyway, it will become too long, just leave it like that. Okay, this is quite simple. So, now the question is, what do we choose for this? Gm minus? Ah, you are right, correct. It has to cancel, y3 square has to go away. So, this is the governing equation. Depending upon what is the choice of this y1, y2, y3, give you the oscillation condition, which gives rise to by equating the real part of this to 0 and imaginary part of this to 0. Now comes all these people. What Colpit did was 1918, almost 100 years ago, he made this Colpit oscillator, where he made y3 corresponding to inductance and y1 and y2 corresponding to capacitors. It is a pi network containing an inductor and two capacitors C1 and C2. This structure is what is known as the Colpit oscillator structure. what Hartley did was, to use Y3 a capacitor and Y2 and Y1 and Y2 inductors. And then what Clapp did was to use Y3 as series LC and Y2 and Y3, Y1 and Y3, Y2 capacitors. It is a modified version of Colpitt. And what PS did was, to put in Y3 a quartz crystal and Y1 and Y3 capacitors. Variants of the same theme, or you can put something else and make your own oscillator with your own name. This is how the history was, and the reasons for doing it is not that just for curiosity they have done it. The reasons for doing it, which we will explain in few minutes time. So, in the Colpitt case, if you substitute that into this equation, you get a result. What is the oscillation frequency? Similarly, if you put Hartley values into it, equating the real part and the imaginary part to 0 will give you the oscillation condition, the oscillation frequency, and the condition for oscillation in terms of the GM of this requirement for this to oscillate and what frequency does it oscillate. So, if you do this exercise, Colpitt gives you the result omega oscillation is equal to square root of 1 by L into C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2. This is oscillate at a frequency corresponding to inductor and the series combination of C1 and C2. But for this to oscillate, R into GM must be equal to C2 by C1. This is not coming from black magic. These two are obtained by the condition that the real part and imaginary part must be equal to 0 independently. So, that gives you these two conditions. Okay. If you make C1 is equal to C2, then this simplifies to C by 2, right? So, it becomes inverse of that, or square root of 2 by LC. So, that is the resonant frequency. So, this is the way you make your Colpitt oscillator. Now, what represents this? It is a single transistor. So, the circuit for Colpitt, actual circuit, can you erase this? Let me erase this portion. It is very simple. a standard single stage amplifier with emitted degeneration, some RE, so that the gain is stabilized. So, this represents your this is a large capacitor, so that the DC is isolated from here to the other network. So, from here you connect an inductor and two capacitors and ground the middle of the capacitor. The same circuit. These two are connected, grounded, C1, C2, inductor here. Now, this fellow must see, there should be no DC connection again here. So, to avoid it, you put a big capacitor here. This is C infinity as they call it, meaning there will be a very large value of capacitors. So, therefore, all the frequency range of interest, these are short circuits. So, now this circuit is exactly same as what we have drawn schematically. So, this is your actual Colpit oscillator. If I want to make it into Hartley oscillator, what do I do? Just change these values, right? Put a capacitor here and put an inductor here and another inductor here. So, you get your Hartley oscillator. Each one has a different condition to be met. And what is the GM of the circuit? So, remember GM is equal to 1 by RE, and in this case you have emitted degeneration. So, GM will be equal to 1 by small re plus capital RE. So, that must satisfy this condition that we have here. And what is this R equal to? It is nothing but this resistance here in the equivalent circuit. So, it should satisfy this resistance that you are using here, and the GM of this, which is equal to 1 by RE plus RE, that product should be equal to ratio of C1 and C2. If C1 and C2 are same, then this value must be equal to 1. So, that is the condition for oscillation, and this is the answer for the frequency you will get from this Colpit. Similarly, you have equation for the Hartley. Hartley. I do not have the result. I will give you this as a home assignment problem. You solve the Hartley the way we have done it for the Colpit to find out what is the oscillation frequency and the condition for oscillation. Then we will say a few words about the Clap and Pierce in the next class.